The statue's illusory. I was gonna say. I'm sorry, what?
Welcome to the 7th part of our 411,000 part series, Better Know a Speedrunner! Today, we'll learn more about meta. Meta has been enjoying the variety that speedrunning offers, posting times for, among others, Fallout 3 in New Vegas, Luigi's Mansion 3, Rage 2, Prey, The Outer Worlds, and of course, Dude Simulator 3. He's likely best known for his very impressive work in the renowned 2016 reboot of Doom, posting very respectable times across multiple categories. On top of being a passionate runner, Meta is proud to be site staff for speedrun.com, widely considered the home and official archive of speedrunning leaderboards for most titles. A quick note before we get started: if you're a speedrunner yourself and you're interested in being featured in this series, hit me up on Discord or simply let me know in the comments below. Cam Meta Enright is a 20-year-old beer store employee from Ontario, Canada. When he's not speedrunning or selling me beer, you can find him practicing his photography and filmmaking. I first met Meta during my 3-week-long attempt at learning the notorious Doom 2016 run myself, and he was a tremendous help, both in specific strategies and much-needed encouragement. But Meta's own intro to speedrunning had nothing to do with the Doomslayer.
It was a Mirror's Edge run. This was like the introduction to it. And I was one of those people that was like, ew, glitches.
Disgusting!
You're bad. Boo, 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 boo. And I think he did like a kick glitch out of bounds. And I was like, oh, this looks terrible. It looks like it's the Hall of Mirrors effect. And I am so mad he's skipping stuff. And that was me back in 2013, 2014. I'm glad I'm no longer like that. Anyway, yeah, Mirror's Edge, which is a sick game, by the way. The game that I first learned to speedrun was Prey 2017. It was really, really short, and I had just beaten the casual playthrough of it, and I was like, you know what? Let's try that whole speedrunning thing out. And I looked at a YouTube video of it, and I was like, wow, this is super cool. And it was super short and super broken. I was like, I could probably do this. So I looked for a guide. I went on the speedrun.com streams page, and I saw that Creeper Hunter was streaming it. And I was like, oh shit, someone's streaming it right now. Let's just go hop in and ask some questions. And so I did, and he was really, really helpful, and we've been speedrunning together ever since.
After a brief period with Prey, and a break from the hobby for a few months, Meta set his eyes on another FPS game published by Bethesda Softworks, complete with a soundtrack once again composed by Mick Gordon.
I think I ran Prey for maybe a month or so. I got like a decent time in Prey, and I think I took a break until about August or so. August is when I picked up Doom 2016, which I had played originally in 2016 casually, but the speedrun caught my eye. It took me 17 hours to learn it. I was a very new speedrunner at this point, but 17 hours to learn it, and I was hooked. I was absolutely hooked. It was extremely difficult, and it was extremely broken. Since August of 2018, I've pretty much been speedrunning nonstop. The day that I earned my scroll bar, my speedrun.com profile is pretty flushed out, let's say.
Not one to sit back and wait for his scroll bar to grow larger, Meta ventured into the wonderful world of category extensions, or what are sometimes known as meme runs, where he still maintains his favorite world record to date.
It was probably one of the Doom 2016 category extensions, and that was just because I basically created it. Like, I created the category extensions for it and set up the categories and stuff. I do still hold the fist bump any percent world record, which, if anything, I'm pretty proud of that one because it took me a lot of grinding to get, and I've had people since try to take it back who have not been able to take it back. So I suppose it is fairly optimized, and it was really, really cool to finally get that.
The Doom 2016 Any% run has undergone dramatic changes over the years, becoming more and more broken with more and more shortcuts found. But new strats don't always mean harder strats, as the infamous level Foundry used to have a positively brutal out-of-bounds shortcut that Meta remembers with a certain fondness? Sure, let's go with the word fondness.
pre-paperclip Doom 2016 any% Foundry. That was a big mouthful, but basically the way we used to do the level Foundry was that you would clip out of bounds and you would do this massive parkour that was insanely difficult, walking on like these tightrope ledges, and it was really, really insane. And it was basically the great filter for most people that ran Doom 2016 any% or tried to pick it up. A lot of people would try to pick it up and they would come to that skip and they'd be like, nope, not doing this, it's too hard, and they would just give up. And I was very proud to pass through that filter, and I practiced it for dozens of hours on that single skip, and I got really, really decent at it. And then we found a new strat that completely obsoleted it, and it's now a joke. But for the work that I did put in and for the runs that I did with it, I was very, very proud.
Meta's proudest moment in gaming wasn't even a speedrun, but simply a completion. A personal challenge that he set for himself using the skills and strategies he gained from speedrunning to take on the game at its most punishing difficulty level.
When I completed Doom 2016 Ultra Nightmare, I wasn't a speedrun at the time, but the only reason that I got into it in the first place was because I got into speedrunning Doom 2016, which led me to do any%, which led me to explore the combat more in depth and realize, hey, you know, Ultra Nightmare, this could be a thing that I could do. And it took me months and months of grinding, and I finally did it on stream, and that was probably my biggest achievement in gaming and the one that I am most proud of. Oh my I did it. I fucking did it, dude.
It's not every day that the parents of a speedrunner recognize the merits of our hobby, and rarer still that they become viewers and supporters. It didn't happen overnight, but Meta's mom and dad would eventually come around to cheer for their speedy Canadian son during events.
I think at first, my mom and dad didn't really understand what speedrunning really was. I think my dad more so than my mom. But my mom isn't very familiar with video games in general, so speedrunning was even more alien. I think over the past 2 years, they've really come around, and they're so supportive. I love them both to death. I've been doing a few events over the past couple of months. I did GDQ, I did Break the Record Live for Doom Eternal, and they were there watching live and supporting me. And I think even though my mom doesn't quite fully grasp it yet, she's been ever so supportive, and I love her so much for that.
Meta's closing advice centers on something that many speedrunners, both new and veteran, could stand to adopt. It has less to do with physical strategies or methods, and more to do with playing the mind game.
In general, doing anything that gives you like a negative mindset towards speedrunning, because keeping a strong mental and positive attitude, I think, is honestly the #1 most important thing about speedrunning or anything competitive, because you need to be able to keep a clear head. It's not like it's helping you. Being negative on yourself isn't going to help you. You need to finish those runs, and you need to have a good time while doing it. If you're just grinding and you're constantly resetting, you're not going to get what you want, and you're not going to be having fun with it. So if you're not getting either of those things, what are you doing? In the end, it should be about fun. That's what I think anyway.
Well, that's going to be it for this episode, but before we go, I'd like to give a huge shout out to Meta for taking the time to answer the questions for this feature. You can find links to his YouTube, Twitch channel, and Twitter in the description below. Don't forget to give him a follow. I hope you've enjoyed today's Better Know a Speedrunner. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and to make sure you don't miss any future episodes, click that subscribe button. As usual, I'd love any and all feedback you may have. Just leave it in the comments below. And if you made it this far, thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next run.